How's it going, everyone? I'm SirJames coming at you guys with another lightsaber review. This time we're going to be taking a look at the Temple Guard hilts that I acquired from CCSabers and was made by Punk Sabers. So let's go ahead and give you guys a closer look. So here is the hilt in hand. Now, not to worry, if you're not a fan of the foldable design, you do get an extra piece in the box, which I'll show you in just a moment. So this, as you can see, has got that gold and chrome finish to it. Some might not like the chrome, some may prefer to have this in white. There might be some customization options down the road, who knows? Got the locking mechanisms for the hinges here, which we'll get to in just a few minutes. We have your button setup here, but do know that this is not a one button setup. It's actually a 2-button setup. The strangest thing, and I've never seen this on any of the hilts that I've reviewed, and I've reviewed a lot of different lightsabers, this one, for its secondary button, and it's still puzzling to me that this is a thing. Like, I'm not really complaining too much. It's a little bit of an odd placement and an odd choice to have as a button, but the cover tech wheel on this is not just a cover tech wheel, it's a button. So let's see if I could show that to you. If you look, there's a little center section there. You could actually press that down, which I'll demonstrate in a few minutes when I showcase that. Now, as I mentioned, if you're not a fan of the foldable design, you do get an extra piece inside the box to have it more of the static option. So if you remember the Temple Guards from Star Wars: The Clone Wars, if you want that version of the hilt, you could. Or if you like the Rebels variation, then you have that option. So I like the fact that you get both options inside the box, so you can go ahead and kind of mix the two together or pick what's going to be best for you, which is great. More options, in my opinion, is always the best kind of options to have on the markets. Now, the first thing I want to go ahead and talk about is the actual hinges. Now, you guys know me, I love double-bladed lightsabers. However, sometimes there might be a double-bladed lightsaber or maybe folding mechanisms, in this case like the dark ray one that I've reviewed in the past 2 different times actually, might have a little bit of a flaw. Now, to kind of rewind a little bit back, the dark ray lightsaber, which I reviewed from Saberforge and Ultimate Works, while it had also a hinge mechanism that folds in and out of itself, one of the big design flaws on that one was the fact that there was a little tiny button in the center, and when you're trying to use the saber and swing it around, you could easily deactivate that and make the hinges close in on each other, which can often it could result in different things, such as if it kind of collapses, it could throw off your swing, or the worst case scenario is it could close in on itself and potentially crush your fingers. I'm happy to report that on these Temple Guard hilts here, that is not the case. So let me go ahead and kind of showcase the hinge a little bit better. So this is the mechanism. Now, unlike the dark ray one, these aren't just going to, like, fold out automatically, and that's because these are locked in place. I like the locking mechanism on here. So the easiest way to go about this is to flip it upside down like this. Take your fingers, go over these little sections right here on both sides, and then simply press down, fold out, and you're good to go. And this is what it's going to look like. Then on the other side is this. As you can see, there is no button here in the center. If you want to close this, you're going to have to go to these switches, having your fingers on both sides, pull away from each other, and then you can go ahead and fold right back down. Again, down, out, away, back down. Simple. Now, when these are folded out, what's nice about this is the fact that I don't have any concerns, or if I want to go ahead and swing this saber around, or I'm going to somehow like dehinge it, or like basically do something where it's going to cause it to collapse on one another. As you can see, I'm freely swinging this around because I don't have any of that concern whatsoever. My only concern is about potentially missing the catch and for it to drop here on the floor in the middle of this review, because not only would that be funny, but that would be sad at the same time. So I am very happy with that. Now, as far as this midsection here, how does it feel? Like, does this feel a little bit odd? You do notice it, but honestly, I feel like you can easily adjust to it. And there's no worries about any sharp edges of potentially, cutting your fingers. It's all nice and smooth as far as the mechanisms go. So I'm pretty happy with that. But let's go ahead and showcase the actual secondary button here. As I mentioned, the CoverTech wheel right here, and on the other hilts too, acts as a secondary button. Now, do keep in mind that if you do get this hilt, gesture controls was not enabled by default. You do get a handful of saber fonts, so I did take the opportunity before doing this review by adding gesture controls, and I tossed in specifically, or I made a file, I should say, for 5 different fonts, though one of them is a little bit off-putting, which you'll hear in just a moment. So in order for me to change the saber fonts, I have to press down on the CoverTech wheel. Mind you, the buttons are up here, so I'm going to go ahead and press down the CoverTech wheels at the same time.
Ahsoka Tano. Prince Arkan. Hello, the Jedi. They're in front directory.
So that's the one I kind of messed up on the input a little bit. It's not the fault of the hilt, that's the fault of the user, aka me. And then of course the main one.
I wondered when you would return.
And there you go. And like I said, I did enable gesture control. And like I said, this is not going to swing out. You have to press these in. So yeah, anyways, let's go ahead and showcase these a little bit better outside before it actually starts raining. Now, a couple things I want to go ahead and mention really quick, or just one thing really, is obviously for anyone who's familiar with the Jedi Temple Guards, you guys know that they don't have relatively long blades. They're considered a lightsaber pike, and they have much shorter blades. I believe their blade lengths are at 26 inches. I do not have 26-inch blades, so I'm actually going to be using the blades here from Vader's Vault. I believe these are 30 or 32 inches, so these are a lot longer what they should be. But I just didn't have the opportunity to look to see who makes such short blades. But if you guys know of any, you can let me know in the comment section down below. So again, do keep in mind that the blade lengths that I'm using is a lot longer than what they should be, but that's the only way I'm going to be able to showcase. Also, one thing to also mention, for the type of blades that you're going to use, it's not the short or the smaller 7/8 blade size. These are actually using the 1-inch blade sizes here. But let's go ahead and take this outside. I'm actually going to use both the different options. So the first one that I'm going to start with is what I have already equipped, which is the folding one. And then I'm going to go ahead and switch it up with the other one as well. Obviously, it's not going to make that much of a big difference in terms of how I swing this around. The only difference here is that this one folds, that one does not. That's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and go right outside.
target on directory.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed the shots on the outside. Overall, I had a very fun time using the hilts and didn't really have any issues as far as wielding them around. I thought they felt great. The only thing that I would potentially add is that on the one connector, the non-folding one, is that obviously I would like to add some grip to it to definitely help get a much more better control out of it. I don't think this one really needs any grip for the folding one, but the other one for sure I would like to add some grip. In fact, I believe on the actual art design of it, there appears to be like half grip on it already. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of dabble around the marketplace and the community and see what options I could find, because I'm pretty sure there's something available for sure. It's just a matter of me actually taking the time to look it up for sure. But anywho, if you wish to take these apart, by the way, here's how you do it. So to disconnect it, you're just going to simply unscrew. As you can see, the gold will separate from the gray section right here. On this, you'll notice that there is a on and off switch. So you can go ahead and switch that off to conserve battery life and switch it back on when you're ready to use. If you wish to remove the actual chassis out of the hilts, you do need to remove just two screws. One is the cover tech wheel / button, and the second one is the actual red button here. Now, when I first got these, the red one was actually really hard to get off, but after I got it off the first time, carefully of course, it's a lot easier to do now. But once you remove those two screws, or in this case the two buttons, you'll be able to remove the chassis completely. Obviously the chassis is only going to go in one way, because obviously that's how everything connects for the buttons, and it does feature a removable battery. And if you wish to access the Proppy board, which by the way is not user friendly, you do get a handful of saber fonts already provided with it, but it doesn't have any gesture controls enabled, which is a little bit on the downside, especially for people who don't know how to mess with the Proppy settings and how to do all the programming. But the Proppy board is not so user friendly. The board is protected by a shell and a couple of screws, which is easy to remove already. But you do have to kind of remove the board off its little holder there and carefully loosen it to be able to put a cable in. So again, if you're someone who just doesn't know how to do that, just don't mess with it. If you are someone who's experienced with using Proppy boards, again, just be on the careful side, so that way you don't potentially damage or pull any of the wires. I did find trying to carefully remove the cable off the board a bit challenging while trying to not to damage any of the wires. Is a little bit on the annoying side, but that's pretty much about it. But let me know what you guys think about these Temple Guard lightsabers. In fact, reviewing a lot of these custom lightsabers for quite a bit of time now, the Temple Guard hilts are actually one of the designs that I don't see often on the marketplace. The only ones that I've known, besides the ones from Galaxy's Edge, of course, the two different occasions, is there's one by Arms on Fire, which I know has an extensive waiting list and can take a really long time to get. But it's cool to have something that's a lot more available. Again, even though these don't pop out as often as I would like for them to, it's just cool to have these now available. And if you're someone who's planning on cosplaying as a Jedi Temple Guard and you're looking for some nice Temple Guard sabers to cosplay with, especially with some NeoPixel blades, then I think these are definitely worth picking up myself. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and don't worry, plenty of more lightsaber reviews and other products coming soon to the channel. Until then, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and may the Force be with you.